Hey everybody, I'm very excited for today. I'm on a call with two great guys, and of course I'm not trying to do that just to be one of those guys, but this is the Bob Preston, the CEO of Unhitched RV, and Dave Wilner, the COO of Unhitched RV, and I'm Bobby, the CMO for At My Community. So guys, thank you so much for being on this with us. I know I got to meet you guys for the first time in person last year at the Ojai conference that was there in Kentucky. That was a great opportunity to meet you guys. Just so everybody knows out there, we brought on Unhitched RV as one of our new clients last year as an enterprise model. We brought them on through NewBook. They were our connection that put this piece of the puzzle together. So we were able to partner with them and NewBook and provide them a great enterprise model app. So I asked them to come on with me on this recording and this video to say, hey, let's talk about how it's working out for you guys now. So Bob, thank you for being on. Dave, thank you for being on. You want to give us a little feedback, Bob, about you, and Dave, we'll move over to you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks again, Bobby, and thanks At My Community. The team's been great to work with. We're actually just kind of discussing pre-show here a little bit, where my role is. And I was sharing with Bobby, I was like, hey, don't ask any like practical in-depth questions because I'm not in the day-to-day with At My Community, but the team is. And so, Dave and I, when we set out about a year ago and sort of started this conversation, fundamentally, one of the things that we're always trying to build with Unhitched is an enterprise level approach, right? And so that was really important to us when we started to think about how to create an app. We went down the road a little bit. Should we just, hire our own programmer? What should we do? Should we build one? Do we need one or not? And then, luckily we, found At My Community in this process. And then, I would say from my perspective, the enterprise part of it was really important. And I think that's a large part of our initial discussions, and where we've arrived today is that it is a platform that works with scalability and enterprise. And that's, a large part of what's happening in our business. So thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you. Dave, what about you? What's your role in this?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you brought up NewBook because the conversations really started with NewBook, where we wanted to own the guest experience in a different manner, the pre-experience, the on-site experience, and the post-experience. And so as we were pushing NewBook, again, as Bob said, on the enterprise level of things, NewBook sort of cried uncle and said, we don't think we can deliver this stuff for you, but have you met these guys from At My Community? So that's really what started the conversations, where we knew that there was going to be an opportunity to have a better full circle experience for guests. We thought it would come through the property management software. They were honest enough to say it wasn't, so they brought us to At My Community. At the same time, we were building out this Unhitched brand. We were now ready, I think, to take the brand itself to a larger scale. So we currently have 37 parks that we own or manage. And so as we developed the Unhitched brand, it was a really nice connection point to say, okay, this can be a one-stop shop for guests, even though they are going to that singular park in Florida and may never have any desire to even know about a park in Kentucky. This now connects that experience in a very authentic and meaningful way.
Oh, that's great. That was a perfect way of saying it. So again, we like to thank NewBook out there because Joe and Rose, who are the owners of At My Community, in which you guys met with them as well last year. Jenna, who your team works closely with, she's our customer success manager. So we're very, very excited to have that connection and NewBook bringing us in, because we do have that full integration with NewBook, which does exactly what you guys said, that full guest experience. And that's what we've always been about. So yeah, so that's awesome. One thing I want to do is I want to share my screen, because I got all your stuff up here. Where I want to just kind of show what your app looks like. So you guys are cool with that? If I kind of show you how it looks? All right, because I'm really excited how this looks. As I bring this up too, and I'll explain to our people that are watching this out there, the great thing about our app is it can be completely customizable, specific to each individual park, but through the Unhitched RV brand, which is actually the app in the app stores. So with that being said, as you can see here on the left-hand side is what we call the app admin console. On the right-hand side is actually my phone that you can see tethered to the laptop. So what I love about this is your brand is like so like perfect. You always have the Unhitched logo in the top left corner. You have a picture of the park, and it just to me is very clean, and you can really recognize what everything's going with, or what you can recognize your whole brand, how it's going.
Yep.
One thing that we did because of Unhitched, or we kind of had the thought with Unhitched, is we created what's called a template. So you guys, my understanding, and this is where Jenna and your team works closely, is your template has pretty much the same amount of buttons every single park to kind of keep that consistency across the parks. Right there, I just tapped on Starrett Creek, and it has these buttons across here. So how our enterprise model makes this easy for your staff and your admin is we carry that template over to the new park you guys are bringing on, and then they just go through and add in their own information. Is there anything you want to add to that, Dave or Bob, about how that works?
Yeah, I would just add that we also have the ability to toggle on or toggle off. So the one that you were just on, Starrett Creek, for example, has a huge component of entertainment, and there's a secondary revenue stream called the Drunken Minnow. It's a big bar and restaurant. So we now have that as part of the template, but most of our parks don't have that. And so that just gets sort of sunsetted, and we don't have to worry about it in the future parks. But a park like Unhitched Branson, which we just took over, again, will have a big entertainment component. So in that version of the app, we get to turn that one on. And again, sort of start on second base. So I think with all of these, 9 or 12 things, whatever it is, we believe that's the basic core of what each park needs to answer. And so setting them up and sort of saying, great, we know we need a park map. We know we need something for activities. We know we need, the recommended hamburger place down the street. Now we're putting that in the hands of the park management team to answer those questions, right? Get us the park map or get us the good hamburger spot. And we're all sort of using the same playbook.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm glad you brought that up too, because if you notice here, I'm on Unhitched Branson on my phone, and all I can see is the phone number, website, and map. And of course, you and your team, your staff can add any other information here they want to. So right now they just put full app experience coming soon. That's exactly what Dave was referring to, is if you notice on the left side of my screen here, this is the actual app that's being worked on in the background. So the staff is continuing to build this out. And like you said, Dave, when you're ready to turn it on, you simply come to community setup, check a box, and boom, it becomes that full app in the enterprise model. So that's what we like about this model that Joe and our developer, Trevor, and all them have worked on, is making that very simple for the enterprise model, that anytime you bring on a new park, whether you're managing it or owning it, it's very simple to get it started, build it in the background, hit one button, and it's live. And another thing that I really like about this, and I'm not sure if your team is utilizing this service yet or not, is we have what's called splash screen capability. So anytime you have a new park come on, you can have a splash screen built to say, hey, we just have our brand new park, Unhitched Branson, and a little ad shows up on the app as soon as somebody opens it. And people will get that gist, like, oh, there's a new park, let's check it out. I'm near Branson. So that's what I really like about it, is you can cross promote your parks. Another thing I like about it is, as you guys know, Bob, I know you know, that we just got our Class A back in December. So we're excited we actually had a really long trip out to Tahoe this past summer, which is really cool. What I like about the app is if I want to stay at Unhitched properties only, I bring up the Unhitched app and I click right here on the map, and it's all location based. So right now, if I was in California, it would show the closest park to me right now would be Snug Harbor RV. I can tap on it, click on the park detail, and right there, this app is currently being built in the background as well. So it just shows me the information about that park. I love that as an RVer, not just because I work for my community. That's just my personal preference, that I can go and see where all the parks are across the United States. So that's a great way of pointing it out there. So.
Yeah, and I think that timeline has worked really well for us, because we're growing so fast. And so when we take on a new park like the one that you just brought on, we can get it on the app immediately. It still shows up on the map. It's still, we still get the core information of, this is the website, this is the map, this is the information, while we're working in the background. Sometimes not as fast as Joe and Rose want us to work in the background, because they could get these things up much faster than we can. Yeah. But it still works, right? And so that almost gives us this sort of, okay, we take on a park, immediately it gets on the app on this little one-pager, side of things. And then within 3, 4, 5 weeks or so, hopefully it's got the full experience behind it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby, I was just thinking of something actually as you were scrolling through there, that it's an important part that I had a mental block when we started going into this app idea. I think down there you'll see our Unhitched brand, you'll see the Jetstream brand, and there's a KOA, right? So we have own and operate a KOA.
Mm-hmm.
So the initial thought for me was going to this was, well, what good is an unhitched app for a KOA property,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I had to change and shift how I was thinking about this, that the app is not, it's not a KOA app, right? The app is for our guests and for our team about that property.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can utilize it and cross-utilize these functions of the app itself on any park, right? Marina, park, restaurant, etc. So I think that was an important part for me to mentally get past, and clearly we have now. So maybe you guys want to talk to about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's a very great point. So the KOAs, as you know, have their own app in the App Store.
Yep.
So, and we've talked a little bit with KOAs about how we could get our app involved, and we actually have some conversations moving forward right now that we hope is going to work out, specifically with our web app version of the app. So for those of you who don't know, we actually have it where you can download the app to the app stores, Google and Apple, but we also have what's called the web app version. So if you notice here on their console, there's this little box with an eyeball. I click on that, and this will actually bring up the Unhitched app as a web app version, and it loads everything, and it has a little strip there, so it looks just like a phone. So I'm going to say I'm going to allow it to know my location, because as soon as I say allow this, it's automatically going to bring the park up that's closest to me here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So right now it looks like Roosevelt Cottages is the closest one to me because it's in Arizona, which is the state right by me. So that's what's really cool about having the web app version is you will have some of those people out there where they're like, I don't want to download another app to my phone. I'm just tired of having all these apps. They can say, all right, well, you can use our web app version if you'd like to, since you're only here for a couple nights. We always encourage the full app because you get the full experience from the full app. And plus, with the web app version, you have to have a solid internet connection for it to work. The regular app version, most of the stuff is cached to your phone unless it requires internet access. So like for the map, for example, that you mentioned earlier, Dave, that if the park map is on there, it will cache to the phone no matter what. So right here, it says park map coming soon. I clicked the wrong button there. Park map coming soon. Even though they will have the park map on there, it'll be on their phone, even if they don't have internet connection. So that's kind of nice to know that's cached to their phone. But the web app version is a great tool that we just launched actually at Ojai last year. It was when we really announced it, when we were connecting with you guys. So
and that was important to us because we also view this app equally important to the team member, not just the guest. And so I hope that all of our team members stay forever. But in the case that they don't, this actually becomes almost a built-in training tool, because a manager can go to Snug Harbor, although you could pull up one of the ones that's live. Snug Harbor is not, but go to Coleman or something. There you go. They can look at amenities. They can look at our favorite spots. They can look at on the about the stay. It says park rules, park regulations, right? Mm-hmm. These are answers that we may or may not remember to give them, right? They almost have to ask, wait, what are the check-in, check-out times for this park that I am now working? We hope that's part of our training program, but it also puts a lot of the onus on the new person asking the right question or the trainer giving the right answers. This app, it literally at their fingertips has that answer for them. Oh, check-in times are at 11. Got it. Because it says it right there.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. Check-out times, 11 a.m. Check-out.
That's right.
Yeah, I love that. You'll notice too, while you're talking, Dave and Bob, you probably noticed I clicked on my reservations. Mm-hmm. So the good thing about this integration that we have with NewBook, which again, we already know how we connected with you guys, is if a customer makes a reservation at any one of your parks and it's the NewBook platform that is used at that park, their email address is now tied to the app. So when they come here and click sign in with, if it's the same Gmail address they use for the reservation, or they type in a new email, the API integration now recognizes that person staying at that park and will bring up new buttons on the app that the person who doesn't have a reservation there won't be able to see. So the person who has a reservation sees new buttons. A good use case for that is, say some parks have gate codes to get into the swimming pool or to the cabins or something like that, or they have barcodes they have to scan to get in for the gate to open. When they have that reservation and that API integration, it automatically pulls up that new button, gate code, and it recognizes that person. So little things like that. And then we also have what's called bill to site or charge to site, where if they want to purchase something throughout the park, instead of having to pull out their credit card and charge it, they can just say, hey, charge this to my site. And then it creates a folio for them to pay at the end of their stay. Kind of like a similar process when you go to a hotel. So that's what I love about the integration with NewBook and you guys as Unhitched, is it all carries across your platforms. So yeah, Dave, thanks for bringing that up right there. That was very helpful.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you talked about, and what you mentioned too earlier, I heard you, Dave, say, and Bob, I think you said it too, is you notice some of our parks, they are not the full app yet because your staff is currently working in the background on those. They actually, the ones that have stars, that means they are a full app. So if you see the star here on my home screen, that means they have a full app. So I can click on this one right here, which is Dickinson, and it has a full app. Great thing about this, and I think your RVers and users will really like, is say I'm only going to go to Unhitched, how do you say that? It's Starrett Creek.
Yeah.
Say it's the only one I'm ever going to go to. I mean, that's like my home campground, my home RV. It has a marina. It looks like I want to go there all the time. I don't really want to see all the other parks unless I want to. As a user, I can come in on this home screen and actually star and tap it, and it changed it from white to red. That makes it favorited for me. So now the next time I open up the Unhitched app, if I come here and I click on the Unhitched app, it goes directly to that park. So it kind of bypasses that home screen. And that's a good user generated content feature for me as an RVer. But I can always click the 3 lines in the top left corner and say, okay, what are the parks they have, and go there. The other good thing about favoriting that is they'll get direct notifications from those specific parks. So if Starrett sends out a push notification, hey, reel in your awnings, you don't want that going to everybody who has your app downloaded, because if I'm in Colorado, I don't care that the wind's blowing in Arizona or wherever Starrett is. So that's a good feature about this, is we've tried to really make it useful for the users and making that guest experience, which you guys are speaking to. So, I don't know if you guys want to add anything onto that or not. So yeah, there was just some questions. So a few questions I wanted to talk about. I know you said, Bob, you haven't gone down into the whole app level. Dave, I know you work a little bit with it. I know your other team, we've worked closely with them. I actually got to have, I can't remember her name. I'm so bad with names. That was on the panel.
Brittany.
Yes, Brittany. She was on our panel at Ojai, which was great. So, or not Ojai, Florida,
Alabama.
Alabama show. Yep, sorry, I got Ojai in mind. Florida, Alabama show. She did so great with talking about how the app's utilized. So your staff is amazing to work with. So that's what I really enjoy about this partnership, is how we can, create this and continue to expand with each other. So
thank you.
I guess a question I would have, I don't know if you guys can answer it, but how well do you think your staff at the operators level, like actually at the park level, is adapting to the app once you bring them on as a new customer or a new park that you own or manage?
I think it's been gradual for sure. We've purposely taken on a lot of the design build on the back end and at the home office level to try and let the park managers just sort of manage their park. And so they're getting it, and it's hopefully a finished product, and then we need to get their buy-in on it to understand the usefulness. And so I think it's sort of threefold. One is, the information gathering, like I said, understanding in this one place, it says that this is a great hot dog restaurant. Mm-hmm. Cool, that's a part of hospitality, or it says that our check-in, check-out times are this. Is that correct? Okay, make sure that I'm answering questions before they're asked. And so I think the information side of things is great. Two, as you mentioned, gate codes. I think there's a usefulness where we can drive people to the app. If the laundry room code is in the app, or if the gate code is in the app, or the Wi-Fi code is in the app, when there are things that the guests need, and they're specifically in the app, I think that's driving a lot of use both on the guest and team level. Mm-hmm. And then the third thing that I think has been the most effective for us that we didn't highlight yet, if you go back to Starrett Creek, the ability to connect directly with the review sites has been somewhat of a game changer for us. And so when you click on that little yellow star, it immediately links to all of the places you can leave a review for us. And we are very, very focused on getting our team to get more and more and more reviews, and we're actually incentivizing them to do it. Oh. This is the easiest way for a guest to leave a review, because they don't have to go to these platforms. They don't have to respond to an email that says click here to give me this 5-star, right? As soon as they click on it, they get to, although this goes to the map, but as soon as they click on Facebook, it should go directly to where you can leave them a Facebook review or leave them a Yelp review, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a great tool for us, and I think this is where the team has seen the most engagement.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't even know you guys were doing that. That's really great.
Yeah, the turning point, and I wouldn't say we're there. I think we're still foundationally building the app itself, right? But where it's been really successful the team level is when they start to see it as a quick and easy tool to answer the questions the guests have. And so, of course, we want to answer the guest question, but ideally that, goes something along the lines of, well, where do I find this? And the manager or someone from our team says, hey, it's right over there. Oh, by the way, it's also on our app. So if you want to find something else, just make sure you check the map, right? And more of that happens. The use of the app then increases for the guest and for the team member. And they got to see it as a tool. It's at their fingertips where they don't have to carry a bunch of pieces of paper or have a bunch of knowledge necessarily memorized in their head.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I think one thing, I'm not sure how far your staff has started utilizing yet, but if I remember correctly, when we were talking with Brittany and some of the other team members, they were excited about having that team portal aspect as well. And I'm not sure how far you guys got into it, because I know you guys have been expanding like crazy over the last year. But for those who are watching, we have a feature where you can do what's called manage user groups. So you can create specific user groups for any specific property or as an Unhitched as a whole. So say you and your staff, you could have a login button where you guys can have your own chat or whatever in there. Same concept here. The staff at Sterrett Creek, when the staff logs in under the app, a new button will pop up saying something like Team Portal. And they could have like their schedule in there, like who's working the swimming pool, who's working the snack shack. Our new chat feature that we just released that we're real excited about has become really a great tool for the staff portal and for the parks themselves as well. Where the staff, like for example, one staff member will say, hey, I'm not going to make it in on Saturday because somebody covered me at the swimming pool. And it's a chat directly within the app. So everything is moderated. That way everybody can look at it and follow it. So it's another great tool for that. And then of course at the park level, people have used it as a use case where one person will say, hey, I'm trying to unload the motorcycle from the back of my truck. Is there anybody here at the park that could help me? And within like 5 minutes, there was 3 guys there to help them get the motorcycle out. And little things like that is what we're trying to do to help that enhanced guest experience right within one tool. So I'm glad you brought that up, Bob.
Yeah, well, again, maybe you can touch on this too, because I think this is important. On the back end, again, from an enterprise approach, there's access control. Meaning, a park manager has editable access to their park, and an area manager or regional manager, then has access and editable range on a series of parks. And then of course, Brittany at the home office as the marketing officer, she has access to everything, right? And so we have, I'm pretty sure that ability to toggle on and off and move both org chart controls is really easy function too, which is important.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up too. I would go into this, but you'll actually see real people's names, and I don't want to show that right here. But yeah, you would just go into community setup and you just check boxes. Like this person gets to do this on this park and this and this and this. And yeah, so it's a great way to keep access control. And like you said, Brittany can control everything. So, and Dave, goes back to what you were talking about, like that training of the people that are coming in if staff comes and goes. The good thing about it is the app is consistent, that when one person leaves, another person can jump right back in and not have to worry about them having to log in, that they have to figure out what they did. And so everybody can just jump right back in, and it never relies on one single source of a person to be able to get into the app and do anything and make updates or changes. Plus us and our staff, we're always here to help you guys out. As you know, Jenna's always willing to jump on a call with anybody with Unhitched or the park level itself and go through a training course with them, all included with our services. You have this little question mark button down here in the admin console. You click on that. It's got knowledge base with tons of video tutorials and image sizes for doing the header images. And I mean, we're always trying to make it easy for you. Plus, Joe doesn't really like me expressing this too much, but I always do because I'm going to. But anytime you click on chat with us, it goes directly to Joe's phone, and eventually we'll go to Jenna's phone as well. So they can always have a chat, and they'll respond quickly. There's times we're at trade shows and Joe's like, oh, I just got a chat request. Let me help them out here real quick. And so that's what we do as a small team, kind of like your team is. We're connected with everybody. And like me even, I mean, Dave, if you or Bob said, hey, Bobby, something's wrong with Canary Beach RV Resort, the reservation button's not working. If nobody else is getting back to you, I'm jumping in and helping out. I can do Loom videos and do recordings and send them directly to you. Actually, I just did one like 2 days ago about how to do a chili cook-off voting contest. So rather than me burdening Jenna, who, she was probably already out for the day, it was in the afternoon, I just jumped on real quick and spent 5 minutes, did a Loom video, sent it over to them. So that's what we want to stress to people out there is we're here to work closely with everybody.
Yeah, I'll definitely vouch for that. Like you have Canary Beach up here. So I remember, I think it was actually at the Florida Alabama RV show. If you go back to like the main list of all the properties, or on the actual app itself.
Yeah.
You know, originally it had a generic, you know, Unhitched RV header.
Mhm.
It said, hey, what does it take for us to get a logo here and get rid of that text header and make this screen itself, you know, the images flow much better coherently from next to next for formatting and stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know how you guys did it, you know, if that's programming or code or whatever, but you made it happen for us. And so I appreciate it. And thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
Looks way better.
yeah, it's very simple. It's a simple checkbox here in the community setup. So if I'm on Canary, and I can actually go here, if I'm in Canary Beach RV Resort, and this is what I want people to see is how easy this is. Community setup right here. I click here, is it a business? If it's a community main listing, I say yes. And then under the app design, we'll check a box that says show display name on home screen. We uncheck that, the name comes off. If I check this on, the name will come back on. And once I hit submit, the name will be on there. So that's the good thing about it is when you have your designers, and I think Joe and Rose or Jenna or somebody did a lot of these images for you. We can do the image, through the logo on there, and uncheck that box, and now it's more consistent and looks cleaner. And I'm actually doing the same thing for an app that I'm building for a project that I'm working on, where I'm doing the same thing, where I'll just have the logo have the name. So, and I got that inspiration from you guys whenever we had to talk about that. So there you go. But yeah, for those who don't have pictures or images on here, it'll just be like a whatever color background you choose with the name of the park on there. But I like this a lot better, so personally.
And I just want to jump around completely, but because you have Canary Beach up right now, we've been talking about the app as sort of an upgrade, you know, for a better guest experience. You know, they used to have paper and now they have an app, but we're taking over parks either as new owners or new managers, and there's just a lot of questions, right? And it's very hard to communicate with an entirely new set of guests in one fell swoop. There's a lot of discomfort about who are the new owners and what's happening and what about this and where's my... In a place like Canary Beach, which is a long time institutional, long-term, you know, generation upon generation upon generation staying there, and they were frustrated, right? They didn't understand the changes. They were unhappy with some of the changes prior to us taking over. They looked at it as, oh, here's another manager coming in that's gonna screw up what, you know, my campground. We were able to use this app, and you know, this is a true story. We were able to use this app to speak to them faster than we were able to speak to them individually, right? We were able to put a sign that says, please, you know, we know you have questions, please download our app, and you'll see up-to-date information. We'll use that, you know, to make sure that you're hearing about why we got rid of the playground and when we're going to be adding back a playground and all of the things that were coming with change. We used the app as the sort of primary communication point, and it tempered, you know, a lot of the hostility that I think we inevitably feel when we come into a new situation where there's a lot of discomfort.
Yeah, very good point. And to kind of speak to it or show you what you're speaking to, right here on Canary Beach, there's a button there called Report an Issue. So our app is designed with forms. So if you notice here on the admin console, it says Manage Forms. You can build as many forms as you want to, and think of them kind of like a Google form or a Jot form, or same thing where you want to collect information from people. So this is where you can go through and actually do that piece you're talking to, Dave. Like if somebody said, you know, there's a broken tree branch in the middle of the road or something like that, they could just go right here to report an issue, put in their name, their site number, and then what's the issue. They can even take a picture of it. Say, hey, here's a picture of the tree branch. Whoever it gets submitted to at that park, whether that be your maintenance staff or your front office desk person, they can see the picture and be like, oh, we got to bring out the big chainsaw for this one. You know, that way they're not going over there, analyzing it, then going back. They can actually get some views from that picture. And the forms could also be used for voting, as you guys heard me say earlier about the chili cook-off contest. People can take pictures of their favorite chili with a sign and say, this is the one I vote for. Or we do a lot of site decorating contests. A lot of our parks do that, and they use this feature where instead of them having to like go and type in the site number, they'll say, this is my favorite site, and hit submit. And then the great thing about that, you guys are now collecting pictures, the park and you, for promotional materials to put out there on your website, and it's all user generated. And believe me, when our viewers get to see their picture either on the website or on the app itself, they get excited about that. So, but yeah.
Maybe we can dive into that a little bit more, because this is kind of just a question I have for you. So I'll put you on the spot.
Put me on there.
You know, of course, from an ownership perspective, operator perspective, the data collected, whether it's images or whatever, is very valuable to us. Can you kind of walk us through the difference between someone who downloads the app and then someone who creates an account and a sign in?
Yeah, so the way it works is if you download the app, it's completely free for anybody to download. So if somebody hears of Unhitched RV app, they can go right into the store, search for it, download it. As you guys know, you have a QR code specifically for both your stores. So it's really easy to download. So when they download it, all they get to see is just the basic information. As you notice, when I click on the 3 lines in the top left corner, I'm not logged in. Because I'm not logged in, I just see only what you want the general public to see. Now, if I had a reservation, say at Canary Beach, and I logged in, I would have to come here to the app, click login, and once that same email address that's associated with my reservation, new buttons will pop up specific to that. So that's kind of where you're going with create account. You're not really creating an account, you're just logging in with that same email address.
Right.
Now,
But when they do that, then we're getting some data on how they're using the app and what they're clicking in. And of course, we can now tie that back to an individual and tie back to the reservation itself when we start to build a better, more richer customer profile.
yes, to an extent, and a lot of that goes to the new book side of things. But do keep in mind, and this is very, very important, we cannot track individual users with the app itself. It's a PII compliancy thing with the app stores, and that's all an Apple and Google thing. So if I logged in under, like, say, my Gmail address, you wouldn't be able to really track what buttons I'm specifically clicking on. You just can't do that because that's a PII compliancy thing.
Sure.
However, if I was logged in as a reservation holder, I'll get a little bit more information on the new book side of things because that's where the API integration comes into play. Yeah. The only time you really ever have to log into the app is if you want to do the chat feature. And again, that's a PII compliancy thing where if you want to chat in here, we got to know you're in here. So that's why we do the login. Other than that, though, we try to make it where it's very simple, where you don't really have to log in unless you have a specific reservation.
Right, which is important for us, right? So we can, a guest can be freaked out a little bit, of having to download the app and then create a login and stuff like we were a lot of other apps that we all have to go, right? So it is very, very useful to the guest without having to do that. Yep. But if they want to tie it to the reservation, then we as the owners get to see that Bobby logged in. And I know his name, I know his email, and I can tie it to the reservation. And there's a lot of valuable correlations there that we can make.
Definitely. And the good thing too about this is you actually have your analytics button here as well. So even though you don't know the individual user per se, you can track which buttons are being clicked on, how many downloads you have.
That's what I was trying to get you to, Bobby. I was trying to set you up.
Got me set up there. So I'm going to share your analytics if you guys are cool with that. Let me go back here. Are you guys okay with that? All it does is just show numbers, which I'm kind of curious to know how many downloads you have. But
not nearly as many as we should. We're working towards 10,000 by the end of the year. That's the goal.
That'd be great.
We just started to push towards this. So
cool. Well, look right here. So I'm going to share this because I think this is great stuff. Now, keep in mind, I think we signed you guys up. Let's go down here. October 3rd, so right before OHI. So October 3rd is when we got it launched. And so far, as of July 24th, you guys are at 917, 689 of iOS and 228 of Android. Now, this will come as you guys continue to grow, as you know. And everything that you guys are talking about. I know that to you guys might think, that's kind of some low numbers. To me, that's some pretty good numbers for the way you guys have been going so far with how much you're growing. So,
I mean, we have not even really made a push or ask at all yet. So
maybe about a month and a very soft month, right? Yeah. And that's why I think we are about ready to push. Our goal is 10,000 by the end of the year. That'd be
great. I know once you guys do that push, I know Brittany and your team is great with marketing. It's gonna, in my opinion, and I won't be wrong. I'm just gonna knock on wood right now to tell myself I'm not gonna be wrong. You guys are gonna these numbers will increase dramatically. But
we're trying to get at my community to be able to show us because I want to make it a contest between parks, whoever has the most downloads. And right now, I don't think at my community can show that as cleanly as I want to show it. So we're working on that.
Yeah, and I think I've heard Joe and Rose having a little bit of that conversation how we can make that a little better for you, because that'd be good for all of our enterprise model. And I know some of our other customers are trying to do the same thing, but what I really like about this is how you can drill it down to the individual parks as well. So right now, app reports as downloads is up here. Then once you guys start doing splash screens where you want to cross promote other parks, you'll be able to see how many of those are shown and clicked on. But now on Canary Beach, I can actually click on here and click on detailed page data, which is with the little button specifically in the app, and see how much stuff's been clicked on, which button's getting clicked on the most, which I'm going to predict is probably going to be your activities calendar or the park map. So if I click here and I click on this one, these are, this is only this month too, from June 29th to July 29th. So it looks like so about your stay has been clicked on twice this month. So again, this is one of the ones they're probably not utilizing it too much this month.
Yeah, they just got it. Yeah, you, go over to Foley. I think that's the most.
Yeah, Harbor would be a good one.
Which one is that?
I would go to Foley.
Foley? Yeah, Foley then. Check it out. Yeah, so this would be good to know. And that's like you said, that's where you can go through and analyze. And all this data can be exported too. So your team can export it, throw it into CSV, do graphs and stuff for presentations, things like that. So check out the analytics here. Close out Canary.
Sure.
What's that, Bob?
I'm sure there's a way we can tie it into our AI.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, and you probably don't know this at your level, but your parks will know. Of course, these are going to be the same numbers because this is the app itself downloaded. But here I can click on home screen, click items. You guys probably don't know this at your level, but anytime your staff or your admin at the park level creates an event on the activities calendar, we have it into AI, specifically ChatGPT, where all I do is click one button to create a flyer for it. And it pulls in the image and the words from ChatGPT and creates this cool flyer that they can go through and adjust stuff. That way they're not having to spend extra time going to Canva or creating one themselves. And it's just some quick and easy to throw out there for socials. So yeah, just this month alone, wow, look at that. 284 people, 284 views on the messages button, which is what the push notifications are. As I mentioned, I did the prediction of 230. Usually the activities one's the highest one, but messages is a high one too, because if people don't have their push notifications turned on, like this Foley you said, right? I'm going to go into Foley and show you what I really like about this. You guys might not even know this, but whenever people download the app, you get those two questions. Do you want to have your location services turned on? Yes or no, or allow or don't allow? And do you want notifications turned on, allow or don't allow? We always try to tell the staff, tell them to allow them because it's important for the park. They're not going to send out push notifications every hour or something like that. It's just more for like emergency situations or, the band is starting or something like that. So in this case, if I'm on the Unhitched Foley part and I come up here to the 3 lines, right here I have notification settings. And right now I don't have it allowed for me to get those notification settings from Foley. All I got to do is tap that and it turned everything on my phone. I don't have to go into the settings of my phone itself. It automatically did it in the background. And now anytime Unhitched Foley sends something out, I'm getting that notification. That's what these messages buttons are. So sometimes people will turn them off because they don't want to see a little bar show up on the top of their phone, but they'll go and click on the messages button because there's a 12 there right now. It means I have missed 12 messages. So if I tap on it now, I just add it to your analytics. Now I can see everything I've missed over the last time that I opened up the app. So
bingo, man. We're going to get it there.
I know.
And if I'm not mistaken, you can select who you are pushing those notifications for, right? So I can do anybody in the park right now. So to your example of you got to, pull in the shades, or, hey, we're having a Black Friday sale and I want to send that to everybody that's ever gone to Foley and allow notifications. That allows me to do it.
Exactly. And you'll see what I just did here. I clicked on the send notification on the desktop, went over there, and there's current guests, which are the ones that are currently at your park or within a mile of your park. And then you have all users. So perfect example of what you just said. Black Friday sale, all users. Pull in your awnings, the wind's starting to blow, just the current guests. Plus, when the new book integration, when they log into the app with the same email address, new book and the app now recognize them as in-house guests. So a good example of that is, say I came to Foley and then we went to one of the waterfalls that's 15 miles away to go hiking. If you send out a notification like, hey, the water's being turned off, I'm still going to get it because I'm logged into the app and I have a current reservation at the park. However, anybody that's within a mile, and we can always extend that radius for you on the back end, Joe can do that, within a mile of the park will still get that message. But if you're outside that mile mark and not logged in, you'll never get that message. So that's one of the great features, is it doesn't overload people's phones because we don't want to bother them. And as you know, the parks don't want to bother them where they're like, oh, I'm just going to delete this app. So yeah, Dave, I'm glad you brought that up as well. So yeah, there's a lot of great ways this can be used. And then here you can see on the back end, I can see all the messages that are sent out. So I could either delete them, add to it. As I mentioned earlier, if they have an activities going on here, so like right now they have kids craft coming up on Wednesday. So that's actually today at 2:00. I can click here and say create flyer, and it'll automatically create me a flyer using AI. I can actually create a notification this is where I'm always saying be touchy with that, because if people want to go to that, they'll favorite them themselves on their phone. So right here, if I go to activities, I'll favorite that myself to get reminded. I would not send out reminders for things like that, because if I'm there and I don't have kids, I don't want the notification. So I always use the example that my wife wants the yoga at 7 a.m. notification. I want the happy hour at 5 p.m. notification. So, it's kind of a joke we do. But yeah, I mean, these are great conversations. Is there anything else you guys can think of you want to add to this? I know we've been talking for a while now.
Keep up the good work. We appreciate the collaboration and partnership. It's been really important to us, and we're, as I said, pushing to get 10,000 by the end of the year. So we want to take this thing on the highway.
Great. Well, we really appreciate the partnership. Like I said, you guys have been great to work with. You and your staff have given us some really good ideas of how to enhance the app for you, which of course will just enhance the app overall for everybody. We got a lot of great things coming up in the future. I don't know if you guys know yet, but Joe and Rose are officially in Spain now. So they got there last Monday. So they're loving life, but we still do our regular day-to-day operations. So it's pretty cool to see them over there having a good time with their kids and learning a new culture. So yeah. So again, we appreciate everything, guys. If you have any questions, or again, any of your staff need to get a hold of us, you know how to. And I hope people got good information out of this conversation, and we look forward to seeing you guys at some of the upcoming shows. And I know I'll see you guys in Fort Worth here in November. So
we'll be there.
Great. Well, thanks, guys. Hopefully I can get some swag from you guys or something. Yeah, some good.
We're working on it. Download the app a few more times. We'll get you some.
Yeah, get us to 10,000.
Okay, I'll see what we can do. All right, guys. Thanks again. I appreciate everything.
All right. See you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.